Hello there, English-speaking Star Trek fans. This is Sci-Fi News with me, Franz, and my trusted drinking buddy, Hans. Salute.
Prost, mein Freund.
And we will provide you with the German perspective for Star Trek Picard. Hans, my good and dear friend, how many beers did you have today?
I decided to skip dinner and only drank 12, but because we are talking about Star Trek Picard today, I wisely drank 6 Jägermeister as well.
Okay. A healthy lifestyle. Gut gemacht, mein Freund, ja?
Ja, danke schön. Aber we will talk about the 7th episode of 2nd season Star Trek Picard today, entitled Monster, and about all the ups and downs of this week's episode and provide you with the German perspective.
Der deutschen Perspektive. Right after the intro. Hans, get the Flammenwerfer!
And now, evil gets an upgrade. This is the Sci-Fi News Video Review with your hosts, Daniel and Jens.
Hey guys, and thank you for tuning in for the first ever Sci-Fi News Video Review in English. Yes, Hans and I will talk about the latest Star Trek Picard and Strange New Worlds episodes on a weekly basis for you guys, but first I think it's important to get to know each other a little bit better. For the case of this presentation, my name is Franz. I reside in the beautiful countryside of Bavaria. I've been a lifelong Star Trek fan, growing up with the launch of the Next Generation TV series, and I would consider the presentation of a better world and a brighter future the key element of Star Trek. Hans, how about you?
Yeah, my name is Hans, and I've also been influenced by Star Trek since the early childhood. The first time I came in contact with Star Trek was at the age, I think, of 6 or 7, when The Next Generation was on German television. From that point, it just grabbed me. My absolute favorite show is Deep Space Nine. I love the stories, I love the characters, and Captain Sisko is a role model for me. A role model in leadership. He's authentic, he is empathetic, but tough at the same time. And of course, we have the same hairstyle.
Nice.
So when I think of Star Trek, I think first of DS9, but I also like TNG, Voyager, Enterprise, and of course the original series. But today, mein Freund, we want to talk about the current episode of Star Trek Picard. But first, I want to ask you, my dear friend Franz, what do you think of the 2nd season so far?
Oh, thank you. Well, the 2nd season started out strong, like the first one did, but I think it's been digressing from episode 3 downwards. What are your impressions of the second episode, the 2nd season of Star Trek Picard?
Yeah, I think the first 2 or 3 episodes were quite good, similar to season 1. But then the quality got much worse, also similar to season 1. And the episode from last week, 2 of 1, was for me the absolute low point of the whole show. That's why I'm curious if the producers will manage to get the train back on the track again this week.
Well then, let's take a look at the 7th episode, Monster, and the opinion of Hans Gruber for this episode. Enjoy, guys.
Thank you, Dankeschön. Maybe I also need some kind of neuro-optic interceptor to somehow get access to the 7th episode. I don't know. I was once again confused after watching the episode and also a bit annoyed. So we are in Picard's mind, and we learn that Picard's mother is suffering from some kind of mental illness, depression, whatever. How could it be otherwise in modern Star Trek? And Jean-Luc's childhood memories seem to be distorted, that he thought his father was a monster for all those years. But what is the conclusion of all this? What does it contribute to the story? What insights do we gain? That Jean-Luc Picard is out of touch and he's even called captain or admiral by his friends? Grandios, gut gemacht. Why can the mother apparently see into the future, and what is hidden behind the white door? Is the mother perhaps not human at all? The story that the father tells about finding little Jean-Luc in the basement because he dropped his pet makes no sense in the context of technical progress that we were always shown in Star Trek. The whole thing is so far-fetched. We are fast approaching a complete deconstruction of the character Picard. They try to pretend some kind of claim with generic phrases to be able to say after 10 episodes, now it all makes sense. And Terry Matalas, the showrunner, has been trying for weeks to explain the episodes via Twitter because the writers are obviously not capable of doing so. Maybe that's why a teaser for the third season is shown while the second season is still running. They know they can't save the second season. They fucked it up. Sure, there was a few nice scenes between James Callis and Patrick Stewart. Okay, fair enough. But for me, the whole story in Picard's head is another attempt to drag out the story arc. The writers just don't have material for 10 episodes. They can't tell stories. And how can it even be that in the 24th century, medicine has no treatment for this kind of illness of Picard's mother? How many times were we told and shown that in the future diseases from the present won't matter? But the real question is, do I as a fan want to see something like that at all? If someone would have told me 5 years ago, hey, there are 30 more Star Trek episodes with Patrick Stewart as Captain or Admiral Picard, then I could not have imagined what great stories could possibly be told. And here we are, in the head of Picard in some absurd childhood memories. Unfassbar dumm. The dumbest scene in this episode is probably the one in which Rios asks Raffi to replicate some kind of medical device without any specification. And this miracle device appears within 2 seconds. Only 3 minutes before, Seven informs Raffi that she has been excluded from the computer system of the La Serena. But it goes further. Rios explains then Teresa how she must operate the medical device. Why doesn't he do the shit himself? Why is everyone still in the clinic? Why doesn't it all take place on the La Sirena? Did I say the dumbest scene? Oh, sorry. I forgot about Guinan and her magic lamp that can be used to call a cue. Where are we? At Aladdin's fairy tale lesson? Well, Guinan and Picard are arrested by the FBI. Talon reveals herself as a Romulan, and Seven and Raffi find out that they are the main plot, and not such an annoying subplot like Rios and Jurati. Jurati, by the way, must continue to ride on behalf of the Borg Queen in order to release enough endorphins to allow the assimilation to proceed. I'm really frustrated and annoyed about the bad quality of the second season, which also finally undercuts the first season with this episode. Because of James Callis and the nice set design of Picard's ready room, I still rate this episode with 1 out of 5 points. That was my conclusion and rating. Thank you very much. Vielen Dank. Franz, mein Freund, bitte übernehmen Sie.
Jawohl. Thank you very much, Hans, for your opinion. Well, and dear viewers, let me ask you this. Couldn't Picard be just what he has been to all of us in the past? Simply a great man. Not a man struck by personal loss, motivated by himself, not by others. Simply the Picard everyone loves and respects. This is the kind of Captain Picard I'd like to see personally. While it still is a potent message that greatness can come even after a harsh childhood, as presented in this episode, I do not see the need to deconstruct our beloved character Picard in that way. His story has been told. He is over 100 years old at this point in the series, and he was a symbol for something else in previous iterations of Star Trek. A symbol of strength, a better man, and I want this Captain Picard back. Also, why even bother going there in the first place? This episode does not provide a real resolution to the plot. While young Picard tries to open the white door that presumably leads to an exit out of this labyrinth, a real conclusion is not even being offered to us. The question after 7 episodes still remains: what is this all about? Why are we wasting precious time with something like this when the importance from the outset Q has constructed for us is not even clear yet? Should this not be a penance, as Q phrased it? I simply do not see the lesson here that Q is trying to prove. And speaking of Q, wasn't the second season being teased and advertised as the final battle between Q and Picard? Why are the producers and writers not fulfilling this promise? Apart from a few scenes together in the earlier episodes, John Delancey has been absent for most of the season, while the show focuses on horrible character writing for Raffi Musiker and 7 of 9. And speaking of those two, this is the second episode back-to-back where she and Musikers serve no purpose at all in the storyline. Well, we have a prominent guest star in this episode, and while the performance of Kellis is amazing in terms of performance itself, his words lack any emotional impact for me personally. I wasn't moved, nor did I really care about the construct of Picard's childhood horrors, and this is in part due to the very strong, and I say this with a very heavy heart, the very strong non-acting of Patrick Stewart that became apparent over the last few episodes to me. It seems like he's just reading his lines from a teleprompter without caring at all about the story, about the viewers, about Picard. Well, and switching gears and looking at Guinan, she rubs Aladdin's lamp. Good for her. But why the fuck does Guinan, of all people, have the essence of this Cold War with the Q in her dirty establishment on Earth? I don't get it. Well, a new character has been introduced, the FBI agent, and this guy kind of reminds me a bit of the FBI agent James Ellison from Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles, great TV series with Summer Glau. And I see a similar outset for this new character. His approach to the presumed aliens was way too casual. And if you follow our YouTube channel, by the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, you should, or we will send the ghoul to get you. Keep that in mind.
The ghoul will get you.
You have been warned, my friends. This clip from next week's episode shows some additional interrogation. You should definitely check it out. Well, and let's take a look at the big picture and what this season has given us so far by looking at a primary concept of good storytelling. It's called show, don't tell, and it's a very primary concept. And Picard mostly tells useless stuff to us, its viewers, and shows even less. And Captain Rios is a great example for this. All of a sudden, Picard is like a father to him. And I ask you, based on what? On season 1, where the two characters spend next to no time in dialogue together, or based on season 2, where the two bonded over a totalitarian future and their shared love for Borg slaying, perhaps? Rios simply tells Teresa and the audience a key trait of his character, while the audience itself never gets to witness why this could be the case in the first place. And by the way, was it really necessary to beam Teresa and her son directly to the fucking spaceship in France? Does he need to get into her pants so badly at this point? Also, though, the medical device my good and dear friend Hans mentioned, that is being used to help Picard, if some Neanderthal woman from 400 years in the past could press a button, why couldn't Rios do that himself? I ask you that. And perhaps you already figured it out. I'm deeply angered and disappointed by the blatant disregard for the important time travel rules the show itself has established in the first few episodes. Don't touch anything, don't change anything. And Captain Rios is like, yo dog, let's free the entire bus of illegal aliens, high five Pedro after he lays a good smackdown on the police guard, and then bring my sexy mamacita to my spaceship to get into her pants. This really makes me angry. And again, Star Trek Picard is highly stupid in its storytelling. Picard gets struck by a car, but is being healed by emotions. again, the past gets altered because Raffi and Seven do not even notice that the Borg Queen is missing from the La Sirena for 2 episodes straight. And again, things turn worse because a Starfleet legend like Captain Jean-Luc Picard simply beams himself onto a public road to visit Guinan. Of course, every aspect of this story is highly constructed, weak, and shows a nasty disregard for common sense and logic. The problem with Star Trek Picard is, for me, greater than simply a single weak or uninteresting episode. It is that the authors do not seem to care about logic, about character motivation and development, and most of all, they don't seem to care about Captain Picard. Monsters gets a rating of 1.5 of 5 and er ist distinctive. Verdammte Scheiße, jetzt schreibt doch endlich mal ordentliche Stories, ihr Deppen! From the German perspective. Thank you.
Danke, Daniel. Thank you, Franz, for your conclusion. I think we need to explain that we don't enjoy talking bad about Star Trek every week. If we think episodes are good, we have rated them well in the past, whether it was Discovery or Picard. But if we think something is bad, we say so. Yeah. And although we are Germans, yeah, we don't have the arrogance to think that our opinion is, the general one.
Was?
Because history has taught us that this is not always the best attitude. If you have different opinion, feel free to write down in the comments. And now, Franz, the last words. In our very first English show belong to you. Bitte schön.
Oh, thank you very much, Hans Gruber. Thank you very much, Hans. Well, to you guys out there, thank you for tuning in. It was our first attempt of an English review from the German perspective. Please do tell us if you like it or if you do not like it. And if you do not like it, please tell us why. This is the only way we can improve our performance for you and drink additional beer with you guys out there. I hope you tune in next week when we provide the German perspective for the 8th episode of Star Trek Picard. And drink some beers with you guys. Comment, like, and subscribe, and have a great one. Take care. Bye-bye.
See you next week.